Hey guys, this is Cameron, the Oregon Knife Guy, and got a few updates and a few additions to the collection. Little recap on this Klaus knife and some of the modifications I did to it. I'm gonna move these out of the way. I'll get to these here in a minute. So here we have the Klaus lockback whittler, and this knife I like, right? I like almost everything about it. Like this big lock bar, but when I got it, this easy open notch was not here. And this pin blade, or spay blade, I guess, set so high it was like right like this. And you almost couldn't get the blade out. And so I had to grind this into it to make access to the nail nick on that main clip blade. You know, it's not a big deal. I don't mind. You know, it came out pretty good in my opinion. It sits down nice and low now. I polished it up. Nice and smooth. It almost looks like it was supposed to be there. This knife I've now had for several weeks, and I've taken to work, several days. I had this in my pocket for about a week and a half straight. This thing works very well. It slices nice. I mean, it's nice and stainless. No patina forming. Everything's great. The lock is firm. These little blades are so thin. Just amazing. Other than the access to the main clip blade, this knife is a hit. And if you guys get this, expect to have to cut yourself an easy open notch. So next, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the barn finds or little things I found in the antique shops. And they are going to come in the way of a couple of scout knives. So this is a Boy Scout knife. This one in particular, see if I can get it to zoom in on that tang stamp. That tang stamp, and as you can see, you can how can I hold it? You can almost make out that tang stamp or that blade edge. This knife is in wonderful condition for its age. This thing, according to the tang stamp and some research that I've done via Tobias Gibson's videos, this tang stamp dates this knife between 1948 and 1956. I found this thing just sitting in a little shop. They wanted almost nothing for it. It is in great condition for as old as it is. And so, almost in the same day, I found this knife. This is an Imperial Cub Scout knife. And according to this one's tang stamp, see the other one, it said Imperial Prov USA. This one says Imperial Prov RA USA down the side. This one is like 1956 to the 1960s when they ceased manufacture and Camillus took over. Which leads me to this. This knife happens to be a Camillus. This Camillus knife dates around 1960. You can tell 1960 to 1964 or 5 or something. I don't remember exactly. I know they started using this stamp in 1960, and according to Tobias's video, it said the early 1960s. And so one of the main differences between the Camillus Scout knife and the Imperial Scout knife is, as you can see, this knife is a cam tang. And this knife has nice half stop on the main blade. It also looks like whoever the owner of this knife was took a lot better care of it than the Imperial. As you can see, the bail is also different. But that Camillus has almost no wear. I mean, the blade's not sharp, so somebody obviously used it until it was dull, but they may have never sharpened it. All right, so that's going to take me over to this interesting little thing. And this, I have yet to do any research on. I know, you're like, where's the knife? You know, this was obviously some store advertising piece. This was made by Colonial. And it has a nice clip blade. And a cap lifter screwdriver. I got this knife and I think it's a Super Tinker from a little place for $6, the two of them together. So I love these old knives, and especially these interesting old knives. I have never seen anything like this. If anyone has any information on it that watches this video, go ahead and post it up for me. We'll throw that out of the way. That leads us to the mail. So I got these items in the mail. I'm going to start with these two. So you can see these are two of the Ryder Blue Mule knives. Let's just go ahead and bust them open. They come wrapped in this nice packaging. We have a Canoe. And I'm sure y'all can tell. And the big Sunfish. I've actually had this Sunfish for a few weeks. The Canoe showed up today along with the other Rough Rider I'm going to show you in a minute. I just figured I'd put them both in the same video. So the Blue Mule knives, Rough Rider, they're the 440A. They have these awesome looking G10 handles. I don't know if they're nickel silver bolsters or if it's stainless steel. I would think that it'd be stainless since they are advertised as work knives. But we'll get this Sunfish out of the way. I do like this Sunfish. This is the first Sunfish I have. Wanted to give this pattern a try. Rough Rider's a good way to do that. They're nice and cheap. I mean, I think this Sunfish was $12. Canoe is also $12. It's got amazing snap. So, and this Rough Rider Blue Mule Canoe. Oh, it's got the same Rough Rider tang stamps, and like they always have, we know it's made in China. We know it's 440A, razor sharp steel. But what I didn't know was that they were going to make it in a different style from their regular Canoe. Now, this is a classic carbon Canoe. It has a, well, you can probably see that I have done some patinaing on it. I put a pattern on this with mustard and then didn't clean it all off before I blued these blades. We're about to have a visitor. You might see some feet back there. Hades, back up please. But here, if you look at these two knives, they are similar but not the same. You have the long mesh strike pull and the swedging on the classic carbon, the slant R bolsters that are lined and pinched, and then on this Blue Mule series you have a lined bolster, but there's no pinch, there's no long pull, there's no swedging. And to tell you the honest truth, I like this one better. The handle is not as tall. I mean, the thickness is very similar, but if you look at it this way, it is, in this dimension, it is not as tall. I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so. Either way, I like it. I'm going to put this one to work. We'll see what that's all about. And then that leads me to the last piece I have for today. And this one might take a bit of explanation. So, a lot of you have seen the VG10 Rough Riders. What I didn't know, watching other people's videos, as you can see, come on, focus. VG10 Rough Rider. Hades, please step aside. What I didn't know is that these knives, while being a bit more expensive than the regular Rough Riders, I think these are $16 each or something to that effect. These are made quite a bit different than the other ones. I mean, there's almost no gapping. I mean, you can see the gap between the scale and the liners. You can actually see light through it, which is kind of distressing. But you can tell, it's pinned. It's screwed on both sides. And there's nothing holding it in the middle. So that, I mean, while not great, it's kind of expected. I mean, what are you going to do? But what I didn't know was, if you look at how thin these blades are. Now I'm going to take out a couple of other Rough Rider knives that are of similar size, so I can just show you what I'm talking about. So here is a Rough Rider Small Moose. As you can see, this blade is I don't know, at least a third smaller, right? In thickness. Let's say, here's this. This is the dog leg. I think they called it a mini dog leg trapper or something, or maybe just a dog leg. Same thing. The dog leg is quite a bit thicker. I mean, this one's got a bit larger blade, but look at the difference on this. It's the upswept bow trapper. I mean, that's half the thickness of the upswept bow trapper. And when I get to looking at them, it's closer to their mini knives. I mean, it is a tiny bit thinner or thicker than this tiny Canoe. But the secondary blades are, I mean, dare I say, thinner than this mini Canoe. I mean, what a great piece this is going to be. I'm glad to have it in the collection. I'm going to use it. Here, I haven't shown this on camera. You've all seen it, I'm sure, somewhere or another, but this is the Rough Rider Doctor's Knife in smooth tobacco bone. I'm actually going to gift this knife to my doctor. He's a Colombian immigrant who doesn't know anything about traditional knives, and when I told him there was such a thing as a doctor's knife, he was flabbergasted. So I am going to gift this to him if I can ever go and see it in his office again. I mean, all my doctor's appointments for the past several months have been over the phone, so for, you know, since this all started. Here's another classic carbon knife. Look at the thickness on this one. I know it's a whittler. You know, through the camera it just doesn't show, but that blade is almost twice as thick. But these secondary blades, we're talking right around that thickness. So yeah, this is the VG10 trap, or VG. I hope I haven't been calling this a trapper. It is most definitely a Stockman. I have quite a few Stockmans. I think they're a great pattern. I love a sheep's foot blade. I love a clip point. Spay blades get used also. Look at how well this all fits. I mean, this spay isn't touching the outside. I could not see any blade rub on any of these blades. When you're open, you've got, I mean, smooth springs. In the open position, the half stop is about a bit proud, but when it's closed, it's also flush. Same thing on this one, I'd imagine. I know this one's flush open. I've checked that. And also on the sheep's foot. Just outstanding. Here is my co-star over here. This is my cat Hades. Hades, come here. Here, let's see if I can get her to show her face. Hades. There she is. That's a good cat. All right, now back up. I know. You want to rub your face. All right. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't make any of you guys sick. But yeah, so to recap real quick, we had the Klaus knife, which is an amazing knife. Once you cut a little notch into it, we got these early 60s and late 50s Cub Scout and Boy Scouts of America knives. We have a cat who likes to take all of the camera time. We have a technique that I'm going to probably do a video on in the future, where you use mustard and gun bluing solution in order to get some really nice patterning on these blades. I also did something similar on that. Well, they call it a swayback whittler, the Rough Ryder swayback whittler. This one doesn't show as well. I may have cleaned it. I guess you can see it a little bit. But now I'm starting to get rambly, so I'm going to have to cut it here. So this is Cameron from Oregon Knife Guy, and I am out. Y'all have a great day.